Scientists made a mistake while gene splicing and crossed a locust with a dinosaur, creating a monster. In the Bering Sea, a fishing boat is attacked by a massive prehistoric sea monster while catching fish. Unable to fend it off, the ship capsizes and sinks with its crew. 30 years ago, there was a tragedy in Jurassic Park. After the dormant Mount Sibo erupted on Isla Nublar, the surviving dinosaurs were transported to the mainland. Many large predators were captured and placed in Big Rock National Park, while others that reached civilization tried to adapt to life there. However, authorities warn that these animals are unpredictable and prone to aggression. A global black market has also emerged. To combat the threat from illegal poachers, the government granted Biosen Genetics the rights to capture these creatures. The company's director, Lewis Dodson, established a sanctuary in the Dolomite Mountains in Italy to study the unique pharmaceutical properties of dinosaur immune systems. They are also searching for a missing clone, believed to be the genetic twin of the late Charlotte Lockwood. Humanity has resurrected these prehistoric animals, but will it survive the consequences? What should we do now? Leave them alone or protect and preserve them? Humanity must find answers to these questions for their safety and ours. Caw Ridge Ranching Company, Nevada. At night, dinosaur protectors run up to the gates, break in, and sneak inside. Once in the building, two women see many small dinosaurs. It's an illegal breeding factory, and the babies are kept in cages to save money. Hearing a noise, Claire turns to see one of the babies sitting in a separate cage. Rushing over, the women realize it won't survive, and one decides to save it and take it with them. The other is against the idea but complies. Dragging the cage outside, a van pulls up to them. The driver isn't thrilled but helps them. Suddenly, sirens blare and people start swarming. They've been discovered. Struggling to get the cage into the van, Claire jumps behind the wheel and floors it. A chase ensues, with several pickup trucks trying to catch them and opening fire. Driving through an enclosure for adult dinosaurs, the animals get agitated and attack the pickups. After reaching a safe distance and stopping, Claire tells her companions they need to go back. They refuse. Franklin says he's been offered a new job where he can actually make a difference. He agrees that their cause is just, but they need to change their approach. Sierra Nevada mountains. Owen and his companions are herding a group of dinosaurs home. One dinosaur breaks away, and Owen follows it. Using a lasso, he manages to catch and calm the animal before rejoining the rest of the herd. A group of men watches them from a ridge. Maisie Lockwood is chopping wood near a small house in the forest. She then rides her bike to the nearby town, where she sees a herd of apatosaurus being guided to safety by workers at a lumberyard. Returning home, she faces Claire's displeasure. Claire tries to impress upon her the dangers she faces and that people are looking for her. However, Maisie doesn't want to listen, insisting she can take care of herself and feeling resentful that she's not a real person but a creation. Owen arrives home during their conversation. After hugging Maisie and Claire, Claire tells him that Maisie went to town again. That evening, sitting by the fire, Owen tries to explain the dangers of her trips to town. Their conversation ends in mutual frustration, and Maisie storms into the house. Meanwhile, a man is watching their home. He speaks on the phone, reporting that he has found the raptor with its baby and the girl they have been searching for. West Texas. Two children on a farm are feeding chickens and collecting eggs. Suddenly, a massive insect, a locust, lands on the fence. The children move closer to get a better look, but the locust takes off, bringing with it an enormous swarm. Screaming in terror, the children sprint toward the building. The locusts chase them, but they manage to take shelter in the barn, capturing one insect that got inside. The next day, Dr. Ellie Sattler arrives at the farm with her students. Talking with the farmer, she learns about the massive swarms of locusts that are destroying crops in the fields. However, she notices something strange. The neighboring fields owned by Biosen are untouched. Remembering that they managed to catch one locust, she asks the farmer to give it to her. Utah. Dr. Alan Grant is conducting excavations and giving lectures to students. One of his assistants interrupts him and asks him to come over. Entering the tent, he sees Ellie. He is thrilled to see her and asks how she's been. She replies that she's doing great, the kids are even better, and she is separated from her husband. Realizing she's not there for just a social visit, he asks her directly about the purpose of her visit. Ellie shows him the captured locust and explains that insects of this size went extinct many years ago. She tells him that these locusts are destroying fields completely and that if their breeding isn't stopped, it will lead to worldwide famine. Hearing this, Alan speculates that it's a deliberate act. Ellie mentions that the locusts aren't eating crops in Biosen's fields, suggesting the company aims to control the world's food supply, indifferent to how many people starve. She needs undeniable proof and a witness. Dr. Sattler invites him to join her, mentioning an invitation from Dr. Ian Malcolm, who promised to show her something. After some thought, Alan agrees, and they set off. Upon arriving at the animal relocation facility, Ellie and Alan are greeted by a staff member. She explains that they check the health of the animals, treat them, and then transport them to the Dolomite Sanctuary. She also informs them that their plane is being refueled. After admiring the dinosaurs, the friends head to Biosen. Maisie steps outside and unexpectedly sees a baby raptor. She starts talking to the baby raptor and feeds it some bread, but suddenly its mother, Blue, appears. Owen intervenes, calming the dinosaur, and the raptor with its baby heads into the forest. Sending Maisie back inside, Owen goes to search for the animal's nest. Meanwhile, an unknown man is watching them. Ignoring Owen's warning, Maisie takes her bike and leaves home. Meanwhile, Blue finds prey for her baby, but before the baby can eat it, it gets caught in a trap. The poachers knock Blue down, capture the baby raptor, and drive away. Owen witnesses this. Meanwhile, Maisie is surrounded by strangers on a bridge. Owen sees that she has been kidnapped by the same people and rushes home. He informs Claire that poachers have kidnapped Maisie and the baby raptor. Stepping outside, they encounter an enraged Blue. Owen promises to get her baby back, and she scratches his arm before running off. Franklin now works at the CIA in the Dangerous Species Division. He gets a call from Claire asking for help. Hearing that they are right outside his office, he meets them in a cafe and provides all the information they need about the criminal Rain Delacourt. He tells them that there will be a deal tomorrow in Malta and that Barry will be there, working undercover. He advises them not to interfere to avoid jeopardizing the operation. Meanwhile, Claire and Alan fly to the sanctuary. Upon arrival, a park worker meets them and escorts them to a helicopter, explaining about the dinosaurs along the way. This sanctuary has become a refuge for 20 displaced species, and they even managed to capture a T-Rex. The dinosaurs here feed on thistles and ferns, although they had to introduce deer for the top predator, the Giganotosaurus. People are not allowed into the valley, and all research centers are connected by underground tunnels. Upon reaching the main area, they meet Lewis Dodson, who is thrilled to see them and talks about a breakthrough in medicine. His company is not interested in money, they simply want to help people. Such discoveries could lead to cures for cancer, Alzheimer's, and autoimmune diseases. Citing a busy schedule, Lewis hands them over to Ramsey and leaves. Dr. Ian Malcolm is giving a lecture on humanity's role in nature when he sees Ellie and Alan enter the hall. Finishing his lecture, he approaches them. After exchanging pleasantries, Ellie tells him everything she knows about the locusts. However, Ian is unaware of this issue. At the barista counter, Ian orders coffee for them, and while Alan is distracted by an argument with the barista, Ian pulls Ellie aside and reveals that the locusts are part of the Six-Legged Allies project. He heard about it a month and a half ago and tells her that the insects are kept on level 6, discreetly giving her his access bracelet. Lewis heads down to level 6 and enters a lab where Henry Wu informs him that their project has failed and the insects need to be destroyed. However, Lewis disagrees and believes they just need more control. He also mentions that they have found the girl and the baby raptor, and they are on their way. The locusts must not be traced back to them, or the dinosaurs and all their research will be lost. Malta, Lewis is on the phone with a woman, who reports that the girl and the raptor are being transported on 2 separate planes to avoid issues. She demands payment now to avoid problems like last time. Maisie and the raptor are transferred from the planes to cars. One of the accomplices hands the female pilot $50,000 for delivering the baby raptor. She notices the girl but decides not to get involved and walks away. Owen and Claire meet Barry, who fills them in on the details of the exchange and gives them a radio so they can listen in. He leads them to an underground dinosaur market, advising them not to make eye contact or speak, and to blend into the crowd. Various dinosaurs are sold, fights are held, and their meat is cooked. Claire goes to the restroom and meets the female pilot there. She shows her a photo of Maisie and asks for help. The pilot recognizes the girl but refuses to get involved. Meanwhile, Delacourt enters the market, where a woman in white is waiting. She informs him that the raptor arrived in good condition and offers another job, delivering atrociraptors trained to kill. Observing them, Owen and Claire realize Maisie isn't with them. At that moment, Maisie is in a different car. A bag of money is thrown to Delacourt, and the strike team reacts, initiating a shootout. Delacourt and the woman in white try to escape, and the truck with the dinosaurs drives off. Owen chases Delacourt, while other agents attempt to intercept the truck. Using spike strips, they stop the truck, which flips over, spilling the animal crates. At the market, Owen chases Delacourt, who releases various dinosaurs in an attempt to escape. During a fight, 2 dinosaurs grab Delacourt's arms, and a third bites off his head. Before dying, Delacourt reveals that Maisie was handed over to Santos and relays this information to Claire. Barry and the agents approach the overturned truck. At that moment, Santos calls the driver and orders him to release the dinosaurs. Using a laser pointer, she directs the dinosaurs to target the agents, initiating a hunt. Barry manages to hide. Meanwhile, Claire spots the woman in white, grabs a taser, and chases her. Santos calls Lewis to inform him of the problems, mentioning Maisie's parents, and promises to deal with them. Santos bursts into an apartment, and Claire catches up to her, using a taser to subdue her. Santos reveals that her daughter has been sent to Biosen. However, a dinosaur finds them in the apartment. Taking advantage of Claire's distraction, Santos sicks the dinosaur on her. Claire is forced to flee to avoid being torn apart. Barry struggles to escape as a dinosaur below tries to get him. Owen arrives just in time and helps Barry onto the roof of a car. Claire runs as fast as she can, leaping from one balcony to another, nearly falling. The dinosaur keeps chasing her. A female pilot notices Claire and comes to her rescue. Claire falls into the bed of a pickup truck, and the pilot quickly gets behind the wheel and drives away. However, the dinosaur continues its pursuit. Barry and Owen are chased by another dinosaur. Owen recalls how they used to corral raptors and suggests using the same tactic. At the last moment, they dodge, leading the dinosaur into a box, and trap it inside. Over the radio, Claire informs Owen that Maisie has been taken to Biosen. She tells him there's an airstrip on the northern edge of the island and he needs to get there urgently. Owen grabs a motorcycle and races toward the airstrip, but two atrociraptors soon appear in pursuit. Successfully evading their pursuer, Claire and the pilot make it to the plane. As they start the engines, they see Owen through the window. Although the plane is already moving, Owen manages to ride in, but one of the dinosaurs jumps in as well. Owen manages to throw the dinosaur out along with his motorcycle. Once inside, the pilot introduces herself as Kayla Watts. She tells them she will take them to Biosen. Meanwhile, Ellie and Alan are given a tour of the Biosen facility. Ramsey informs them that they have 30 minutes before the train leaves and suggests they explore on their own. Taking advantage of the opportunity, they head straight to find the laboratory. Maisie arrives at Biosen, where Dr. Henry Wu explains her history and why she is there. He intends to study her DNA and the baby raptor's DNA to correct the problem with the locusts. Ellie and Alan don protective suits and head down to the lab. Finding the right lab, they enter and see the very locust they are concerned about. Despite hearing her story, Maisie decides to escape and releases the baby raptor, Beta. Lewis, realizing the situation, hits the alarm button. Ellie carefully takes a DNA sample, but the sudden alarm wakes all the insects, causing them to attack. Fending them off, Ellie and Alan manage to escape the lab and run into Maisie. They decide it's time to get out of there. Kayla, with Owen and Claire on board, reaches the Biosen facility and requests landing clearance. However, the control tower denies the request, and Lewis orders the air containment system to be deactivated. As soon as it's turned off, a flying reptile attacks the plane. Claire ejects while Owen and Kayla attempt an emergency landing. Meanwhile, Ellie, Alan, and Maisie reach the capsule train and meet Ramsey. He asks if they got the DNA sample and reveals that he knows about the problem and wants to help. Assured they have the sample, he opens the capsule to take them to the airstrip. Noticing Maisie, he sends all three towards the plane. After a rough landing, Claire finds herself in the middle of the jungle. Freeing herself from the ejection seat, she climbs down only to encounter a dinosaur. Barely managing to hide from it in the water, she continues her trek towards the Biosen facility. The plane landed on the ice, but Owen and Kayla survived. After getting to the surface, they immediately encounter a predatory animal. They manage to reach a building unscathed. Once safe, the girl pulls out a device and shows the guy that there's a beacon built into the chair. They'll be able to find Claire. One of the workers shows Lewis footage from a camera. It reveals that Ellie and Alan snuck into the lab, with Malcolm giving them the key. He didn't like what he saw in order to find the doctor and Ramsey. He also learns that the friends and the girl are in a capsule, heading towards the airfield. The doctor and Maisie are in the capsule when it suddenly stops and the lights go out. They decide to get out and try to walk. After making a torch, they start their search, and a dinosaur emerges from the water behind them. In the director's office, Ian hears that he is fired. His subordinates inform him about the stuck capsule. Ramsey says there are animals there and that rescuers need to be sent immediately. The doctor tells Lewis exactly what he thinks of him and leaves to pack his things. Owen and Kayla find Claire's empty chair. Following her trail, they encounter a T-Rex and a Giganotosaurus. The two apex predators start fighting, and one of them leaves after abandoning its prey. Meanwhile, Ellie, Alan, and Maisie are in a shaft, looking for an exit. Ramsey takes Ian to a garage with cars. He tells Ian there's an exit in the northern corner of the shaft and gives him car keys. The friends and the girl try to find an exit but instead run into dinosaurs. The dinosaurs start chasing them. Miraculously, they reach the exit, but the gate is locked. Ian is on the other side, but he doesn't know the code to open it. Ramsey sees them on the cameras and opens the gate from his side. Claire reaches one of the labs in the forest. Dinosaurs surround her from all sides, but suddenly, Owen appears and saves her from one of them. Hearing a wild roar, they decide to take shelter in the house. Lewis is at his computer, destroying files when he receives a notification on his phone. Locusts take over continents. He heads to the lab and orders it to be destroyed. The workers set the locusts on fire, but the burning insects manage to escape. A fire breaks out in the valley because of the insects. The burning locusts fall on the car carrying the doctor and the girl. The car stops poorly and tumbles down the slope. Hearing the sound and seeing the fallen car, Claire and Owen realize their daughter is inside. Rushing to help, they assist everyone in getting out of the car. Just then, a Giganotosaurus approaches, drawn by the noise. They barely make it into the house and manage to scare off the dinosaur with a stun gun, allowing them a moment to catch their breath. In the control room, Lewis sees the entire forest engulfed in flames. One of the employees suggests evacuating the animals. Frustrated that nothing is going according to plan, he reluctantly agrees to the evacuation. Activating the remote shepherd system, they direct all the animals into secure zones. In the lab, Ian tries to contact someone, but the fire has knocked out all communications. Kayla mentions that there's a helicopter in the main complex, but they need to activate the VCS, vehicle control system, to escape. However, all the systems are controlled from the operations room on the 3rd floor. Looking at the plans, Owen notices that all the labs are connected by underground tunnels. The group sets out on their journey. Lewis hurriedly packs his things. Ramsey enters, and from his demeanor, Lewis realizes that Ramsey was the one who told Malcolm about the program, setting him up and orchestrating everything. The group reaches the operations room. Claire notices it's identical to the one they had in their park. Ramsey joins them and explains that the system is low on energy, so they need to shut down the first circuit. Claire and Ellie go to deactivate the circuit, while Owen, Maisie, and Alan search for Betty. The director gets into a capsule, attempting to escape. The women descend to the systems, but to reach the necessary button, they have to pass through a semi-conscious locust. The men track down the offspring with the girl. After navigating through the locust, they find the right button and press it. The lights go out, and along with them, Lewis's capsule stops. Finally, they find the offspring. Maisie distracts her, and Owen shoots her with a tranquilizer at the right moment. Things go awry for the women. After shutting down the circuit, there is a reboot. Finding an axe, they damage the system, and there's enough energy to activate the VCS. Lewis exits the capsule and walks but encounters a dinosaur. Returning to the capsule, he sees 2 more inside. Dilophosaurus attack, there's no chance. After sedating the offspring, the man ties Betty to his back. Kayla enters the hangar and starts the helicopter. Realizing they've succeeded, the group joyfully embraces. But suddenly, they hear footsteps. It's Henry Wu. He asks to be taken along. With Maisie's help, he can understand where he went wrong and fix it. Kayla informs them she's already in the air and plans to land at the center. She didn't know all the dinosaurs from the valley were herded inside. Rushing outside, the friends see the helicopter, but their path is blocked by a Tyrannosaurus Rex and a Giganotosaurus. Another fight breaks out between the predators. Taking advantage of this, the group tries to reach Kayla. Once again narrowly avoiding death, they board the helicopter and leave the valley. A Therizinosaurus intervenes in the predator fight and, together with the T-Rex, defeats the Giganotosaurus. After returning from the valley, Ellie and Alan rekindle their relationship. Together with Ian and Ramsey, they testify against Biosen. Dr. Henry Wu finds a quick solution to the ecological crisis and stops the spread of the locusts. Using a pathogen, he alters the locust's DNA, leading to a revolution in genetics. By UN decree, the Biosen Valley is designated as a world sanctuary, where dinosaurs can live peacefully, protected from the outside world. Kayla buys herself a new plane. Maisie returns home with her parents. After releasing Beta into the wild, she reunites with Blue. Joyfully meeting her offspring, the raptor seems to say, "Thank you." Life on Earth has existed for hundreds of millions of years, and dinosaurs are just a part of it, with humanity being an even smaller part. Humans act like they are in charge, but that's not the case. They are merely part of a fragile system that includes all living beings. If humanity wants to survive, it must trust each other and learn to coexist. Dinosaurs have managed to adapt to their new life and find their place among herds of horses, flocks of birds, elephant packs, and the giant sequoias, which are so convenient for large herbivores to eat. How do you think? Will scientists ever find a way to resurrect dinosaurs and mammoths? Share your opinion in the comments below and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.